Hi, my name is Cathy Gregg, and I'm from Scottsdale, Arizona. So, as a child, I had chronic sinus infections, and the only thing that my parents knew to do were to take me to the doctor. And the doctors back then, the first thing they would do, the only thing they would do is put you on antibiotics. So it never cleared up. So my entire life into my adult life, I have been on antibiotics. So that's the background for me having all these illnesses. But lo and behold, I had immune issues that nobody had diagnosed previously. So you go through a million doctors and nobody's listening to you. They don't hear you when you tell them that things still aren't right. And it kind of came to a head. I had Epstein-Barr virus with very bad chronic fatigue. I knew of Dr. Roxie, and she got me through that time. But then in April of 2020, I got COVID. So once I had COVID, it was early 2020 when the doctors didn't even know anything about it. So it was very hard for me. And I ended up having 3 doctors trying to help me out during this first part of it. And I ended up in the emergency room 3 times. I was so sick. I seriously thought I was going to die. I didn't think I was going to make it through it. I've never been so sick in my life. It was going through my entire nervous system. I can't even explain all the things I went through. And at the end, it's almost like they believe I had a mini stroke. And the doctors, one gave up on me. The next one, once you get to the neurological problems, he's like, I can't help you. And this was a specialist from New York that was helping all the people with COVID there. He dropped out. And then my third doctor that I was using at the time, I called her because I was telling her that and I was in tears, I was telling her that my stomach was not processing food anymore and that I was so bloated. I looked 7 months pregnant. Her answer to me was, do not call me again. I can't help you. And I was like, okay, what do I do? So I picked up the phone and I was in tears talking to Dr. Roxie about it. So I'm on the phone with Dr. Roxie. She said, I need you to come in and see me. And I know it's during COVID, but you need to come in. So I went in and she had her hands on me for about 3 minutes. And she's like, oh, we have a valve that's blocking your intestines. And so you are correct. Your body is not processing food. So she fixed that. It didn't feel good, but she fixed it and then taught me how to do it myself at home. And I've never had a problem since. And that was 3 years ago. And again, with the chronic fatigue, it was so much worse than when I had Epstein-Barr. And I sat in Dr. Roxie's office for about an hour while she listened to all of my complaints I was having. And she said, okay, so we did a SIBO test, and that takes a while. Everything takes a while. She listened to me, she heard me, she helped me, and nothing is a fast process. And now we're 3 years later, and I wake up singing like I'm in a Disney movie. This woman is fantastic. She saved my life. So one little piece of advice I can give you that I do for myself every day that helps me immensely is I of course have my one morning cup of coffee, but then I immediately head outside. So when I go outside every day, every morning, I try for morning, it just lifts my spirits. It just opens me up for anything. It sets my mood for the day. And again, it can be cloudy. I love clouds. I love anything outside, and it just makes my whole day. And if I don't do it, my day doesn't go as well. So that is my mantra. Nature. I need to be out in nature. So after I had COVID, I hadn't been able to do a lot, so I was very weak. So once I started going outside and I could go out and walk and do things again, I would run into my friends and my neighbors. They're like, okay, we've all been cooped up for all this time. How do you look like you do? And you're the one that's been sicker than anybody else. How did this happen? And I tell them all about Dr. Roxie and my journey. And so Dr. Roxie, you have a lot of people that you're going to be seeing real soon. I've already sent her some people, but there's a lot more coming. If I could give a hug to anyone in this world, it's actually going to be 4. I have 3 children. They live in California, Hawaii, and Texas. And I miss them a lot. And Dr. Roxie, again, I wouldn't be here without her, so always her.